Greetings, everyone. Welcome to another Make Loud, whatever the hell day it is. It's Friday now. I used to do these every week on Monday, and then I just decided that I didn't want to do that. So now we're doing it Friday night, and this week's episode is going to be me doing some really dumb things. And there are those who might argue that putting a guitar in my hands at all is a dumb thing, and they certainly have some validity to that argument. But that's not really what we're going to focus on. We're going to focus on some other kind of dumb things. But let's start out with the things that aren't intrinsically dumb other than putting a guitar in my hands. The first of which is we're just going to talk about which guitar we're using and how we got it set up and sort of start with the basic sound, and then I'll explain what this is all about. So today, we're going with St. George. This is my late 60s St. George 12-string electric. It's Japanese guitar, inexpensive guitar, but I picked it up a couple months ago. I absolutely love this guitar. I can't believe how much I play 12-string guitar now. And that's part of what we're going to talk about today, is just using a 12-string in sort of an unconventional way. In terms of setup, I've got it on the rhythm circuit, which I think on this guitar just sounds much richer. Here's the rhythm circuit. The solo circuit, I don't know, it just doesn't have as much life to it, so we're going to leave it there. And I've got the neck and bridge pickups on. The middle pickup is off. Volume all the way up, tone all the way up. We'll fiddle around with that more later. And the riff that we're going to be playing, it's a song that, it's not even a song. It's just a strumming pattern. It's an E and two ways of playing G, so I've called it Egg. And it goes a little bit like this. That's all you need of it for now. You're going to hear a lot of it as we go through this episode. And so that's a, an altogether decent sound. It's not necessarily a super characteristic kind of jangly, birds kind of sound for 12-string, but it's fine. So what are the dumb things we're going to do today? Well, the first dumb thing that I want to do is I want to play this guitar, this electric guitar, and I'm going to mic it acoustically. It is not a hollow body, it's a solid body guitar. So just to give you a sense of what that sounds like, we're going to take the plug out, hang it over here. Some of that might be coming through the microphone you see here, which is a Loudon Audio condenser mic, but I've also got right down here, you can hear me tapping on it, a dynamic mic, a Shure SM48 that's pointed right at the joint of the neck and the body. In fact, move it a little closer. And that's what's picking up most of the signal. And I'm going to record that into Studio One and let you hear how that sounds played back. So not recording the big condenser mic, just the studio, just the dynamic mic. So let's go ahead and do that. Oops, I gotta arm it for record. Okay, and here we go. So there it is. Now Gotta pump up that signal a little bit, and then let's play it back, and let's see how it sounds. So there it is. That's how it sounds. Here, let me go back over here and stop it. So why would I do that? Well, the reason I do that is because it gives us a little bit of the natural sound of the instrument. We can hear the resonance of the strings. We can hear whatever tonality this body has. I don't even know what kind of wood it is, and I honestly don't care. And then, all of the various kind of hand dynamics sounds. I'm being gracious when I call it that. It's my hand flapping and flailing against it, and, the pick striking the side of the neck or the edge of the pickup or whatever else. All the various clunky, blunky sounds that make it sound like a person actually playing a guitar. And the reason I am doing that is because we're going to plug it back in now. And we're not plugging it into the amp. We're plugging it into a pedal board with a fuzz pedal on it. So we're going to play a 12-string through a fuzz pedal. Maybe somebody else has done this, but I never have. I never thought of it that way. It's not intrinsically what I think of for a 12-string guitar. But why not? So, again... our clean sound, and the fuzz pedal I'm using today is the EHX Rip speaker. I've got the fuzz set pretty low, I guess about 1030 on a clock dial, and the rip at the same level, volume set pretty low so that it's not thunderously loud, and the tone is a little past noon. Late lunch, let's say, like 1:15. So here's what our fuzz sound is going to be. So some of the dynamics and some of the natural pickings and strumming sounds are lost there a little bit. And on this guitar, if we back the volume down, let's back it down about 40%. Instead of getting really a clean tone, we get... a much more muffly or sort of mid-rangey sound compared to So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually set it up and I'm going to record that same little riff that I've been playing with the dynamic mic, and I'm going to mix them to about equal volume, and we're going to experiment with sort of playing it back and bringing that volume of just the natural picking sounds up and down. See what it does. So let's go back into Studio One. Yeah, maybe I'll go on the Studio One screen for this. Okay, so here we are in Studio One. And we're going to arm both for record. You can see where the levels are. We'll go back to the beginning. And we'll let it start. So there it is. We'll pause it there. And then one thing we have to do is we definitely have to kind of bring this up a little bit. And that might be all we get out of it. So you can see the two waveforms. And let's go ahead and start playing them back, and then we'll listen. So that's with the acoustic sound. Pretty loud. And then as we bring up the fuzz sound, go ahead and start back from the beginning. So you can see how leaving that strumming in gives it a little bit, oh, there's a little vocal noise there at the end. Let's trim that off because that annoys me. If you think my voice annoys you, you should see how much it annoys me. So I like this. This is something that I might actually start doing when tracking for any sort of studio recordings. You know, I generally double all of my guitar lines anyway to give them a little bit of added thickness. And I think that's what using the 12 string here does. You don't necessarily get any of that characteristic octave up sound, but you definitely get a lot of density to it. And, you know, this is a thick fuzz sound. You can hear a little bit more of the octave when you play single notes. But when you're strumming chords, especially big open cowboy chords, you know, simple E and two ways of playing G, good old egg here, you get a lot of added harmonics anyway. So between the added harmonics of the open strings, the 12 string, and the fuzz pedal, it's just a big wall of sound. So bringing back in that acoustic strumming sound, I think, gives it a little bit more density and texture. So those are two pretty weird things to do. The next one is going to take me a second to set up. So I'm going to pause the recording, set it up, and then we'll explain. Okay, it's all set up. So what did I do? I don't know what possessed me to try this, and I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen. I kind of know a little bit because I did one test strum to make sure it was working. But I did not change anything about the setup at all, except that I put the fuzz pedal in the effects loop. So it's the amp's effects loop. So it's after the preamp, but before the power section. And everything that I do is going through an IR, not through an actual cabinet and microphone and all that. So this is all going kind of direct in, but with some speaker modeling and some amp modeling behind it. But this is what it would sound like if you put a fuzz pedal in your effects loop with a 12 string, with a microphone picking up the acoustic sounds. Because why wouldn't you do something that stupid? Let's go ahead and give it a try. Let's record it and see how it sounds. And we'll play back the two different variations and compare them. So here we go. An extra strum there for good measure. we're going to just cut off that little bit of vocal silliness, and we will pump up the two signals. Okay, and then let's go ahead and play it. And that's what we're hearing now is not in the effects loop in the traditional configuration with the fuzz pedal before the amplifier. And here it is in the effects loop. So, I'm curious. Which one do you like more? I'm not entirely sure which one I like more. I think I'm gonna experiment more with the fuzz pedal in the effects loop, just because it sounds kind of weird and cool. It's got a little bit more clarity to it, and I'm not really using a lot of touch dynamics. I'm not fiddling with my volume knobs while playing, so I kind of get my sound, set it up, and then track it. So I think I have a little bit more flexibility with where I put it. But I'd love to hear what you think. Have you ever tried this? Have you ever put a dirt pedal in your effects loop? Have you ever put a fuzz pedal on a 12-string? Have you ever mic'd acoustically a solid body electric guitar? Or am I the only one who's crazy enough to try stuff like that? Leave a comment, like and subscribe, and we'll see you soon.